What's up guys, Yuri here with another guitar review. Today we're talking about the PRS SE CE24. God, that's a mouthful. I've owned this guitar for about 6 months now, so I've had plenty of time to bond with it and love it. And I'm going to give you a list of pros and cons, as well as share some personal opinions on this guitar so you can decide if this guitar is right for you. Now let's get into it. So right off the bat, this guitar comes in a really nice ice metallic blue satin finish. Now, when I was considering buying this guitar, I was between this one and the metallic gold. Now, I'll admit, I'm a huge fan of Slash from Guns N' Roses, and obviously the gold one reminded me a lot of the gold top Les Paul, but ultimately after talking with my wife, she recommended I get the blue one because she said it had a more classy, sophisticated look, and obviously she was right, so I'm glad I listened to her. Now moving on to the comfort cuts, this guitar does have a single comfort cut for the belly, but no comfort cut for the arm, unfortunately. Now, for me, I come from playing Fender guitars, so like Strats and Telecasters, and also some G&Ls. I'm a fan of G&L. So with that said, of course, I'm a fan of the cut right here for your arm. This one doesn't have it, but honestly, the fact that it's a more rigid look kind of makes it so where I have to kind of keep my arm in one place. So, you know, pros and cons. I do wish it had that cut, but I understand PRSs are made that way, so that's fine. Okay, now I'm sure you've heard this before, but PRSs are basically like a cross between Fender and Gibson guitars, in the sense that if you took the best parts from both of them and squished them together, this is what you got. This is exactly what that is. It's a guitar with two horns like a Strat, but it also has two humbuckers and a tremolo bar, so I would even go as far as to call this a super Strat. Now, in terms of specs, this guitar has a 25-inch scale length and a 10-inch radius. So the fact that it's a 25-inch scale length means that it is easier to play. Couple that with the fact that it comes with size 9 strings by default, this guitar is very easy to play power chords and even do some noodling all across the neck. For me personally, I find it really easy to just fly up and down, no problem. Now let's say I'm playing a song with like a lot of heavy power chords and I'm going up and down. I will find that sometimes I'll accidentally shift up a fret. So in other words, if like the power chord was an F sharp on the 2nd fret, I might accidentally play it on the 3rd fret. And you know, that just comes from like habit of playing like my Strat or Telecaster. It's not a big deal. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to correct over time by just playing the guitar. Now they say that guitars with flatter neck radiuses make it easier to bend and finger tap. So for example, a Gibson, like a Les Paul or an SG, will have a 12-inch radius, which is relatively flat. Now this guitar has a 10-inch radius, but with that said, it is still extremely easy for me to finger tap. No problems whatsoever. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this guitar does come equipped with 2 humbuckers. They are stock PRS humbuckers, and honestly, I was very pleasantly surprised. When I was playing the guitar at the music store, the sound is one of the things that attracted me to it. And I have played this guitar through many different amps, both solid state and tube amps, and the sound continues to blow my mind. Now, this guitar also has a push-pull knob, which means that you can split the coils to give you that faux single coil sound. Now, of course, it's not going to sound exactly like a single coil, but if you want some variety or just something different from the traditional humbucker, the single coil, the split mode, makes it very easy to get that sound. Now, by default, this guitar comes with a 3-way switch, but by activating the coil split, you get 6 different tonal options. So that makes this a very versatile beast. Now moving on to the bridge, like I mentioned earlier, this does come with a floating bridge. Now, honestly, with this guitar, I don't do like a lot of tremolo work. this guitar is better suited for more like light flutter work. You know, honestly, if I like crank up the distortion on my guitar, I'm tempted to do some really deep dive bombs. And it's only once you do that that I noticed the guitar was going out of tune. So if you're gonna do dive bombs on this guitar, don't expect it to stay in tune all the time. This is more better suited for just like light flutters and things like that. And honestly, I would be okay if this was a fixed bridge, because like I said, I wanted something different. My Strats all have floating bridges. So this, I would have been fine if it was like more like a set bridge, kind of like a Les Paul or a Telecaster. But you have the option. The option's there. So high marks for PRS. Now, one remedy that you could do to help your guitar stay in tune better is adding some locking keys to the headstock. That's a very common solution for a lot of guitars that don't stay well in tune. And honestly, I've seen this guitar, not this guitar, but guitars of this model on the Facebook Marketplace, and a lot of them did have locking tuners, which means that other people were thinking about it too, not just me. So that's something to consider. If you want a guitar that's gonna be like a reliable guitar for playing live or even just playing at home, making that upgrade of like $50 to $100 could really help this guitar go a long way. Another thing that I want to point out about this guitar is that obviously it has the 3 tuners on each side of the headstock, which is typical PRS fashion. I found that having the larger tuners is really comfortable. You know, obviously I'm used to having the 6 inline tuners, but having the larger tuning pegs just felt more pleasant, you know. I'm a tactile guy, I like texture. If you're a guitar player, you should be a tactile person too because you're playing the instrument, but having these larger tuners just felt nice, so I will say that. And in addition to that, this guitar is perfectly balanced. As you can see, I am not holding it up whatsoever except for the strap, which what I'm trying to say is that this guitar has no neck dive, so unlike an SG, you're not gonna struggle to keep this guitar up. It's perfectly balanced and you're gonna have a great time playing it. So more props to PRS. That was neck, now middle. Bridge. Let's try split coil, neck. Good. Middle. Bridge. Middle. Bridge. Now the big question is price. Is the price of this guitar worth it? Now this guitar currently for retail costs $499 in the United States. And honestly, for $499, it is a very good budget guitar. I know some of you might be thinking budget. My budget's like a lot lower than that, but I would say this is like a good intermediate level guitar. So if you're a beginner, maybe start off with something lower, but if you're kind of trying to work your way up, this is a great option for you. Why? Because of all the things that I mentioned. The two humbuckers, the tremolo bar, the shorter scale length, all of those things are going to make it very easy and comfortable to play. Plus it has size 9 strings. Oh, one thing that I didn't mention, this guitar has a satin neck. So satin for me is a huge plus. I'm not a huge fan of the glossy necks. I feel like they're kind of limiting and kind of create a lot of friction. But with the satin, it really helps me fly up and down the neck. Now, price-wise, of course, $499 is a lot of money. So $499 is only worth it if you're going to buy it new retail. On the used market, I would say if you could find it for like maybe $400, that'd be great. I've seen this guitar go on Reverb for about $399 to $419, and still new, mind you, just at a discount. So if you could even get this for like $350 used, I'd say that it's a good buy. And obviously when you're buying used, you gotta make sure it's in good condition, make sure there's no large cracks or dinks or anything out of shape. But you know, I'm a huge advocate for buying gear used. Secondhand, guitars usually do hold up their value, and in the last 5-10 years, guitars have actually been going up in value. So if you have some old guitars, you know, you might be surprised to see what they cost today. Another pro tip is that if you go on reverb.com and you look up this guitar or any product really, and you add it to your watch list, which means like just liking it, just giving it that little heart, in like honestly 1 hour, like somebody else might be shooting you a deal or like a competitive price where they're offering it to you at a discount. And that's just some things that vendors do to, you know, try to get the sale from you. But if you're trying to get this guitar, try that method, or if not, just wait a couple weeks. You'd be surprised to see these guitars going on sale. Like I said, $399 to $419 is the range that I've seen it. So if you could get this guitar for that price, I'd say it's a win. So anyway, those are my thoughts on this guitar, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you had fun. If this is your first time watching my videos, I would ask you to consider to subscribe to my channel. I'm currently on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you could help me along that journey. And if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, thank you for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. I know I haven't uploaded a lot of videos as much as I'd like to, you know, just kind of busy with life and things like that. But I just wanted to get this video out there to reconnect with you guys and, you know, spread some positivity in the world. So thanks for sticking with me all these years. And if you enjoyed what you saw, you know, drop a like. If you have any questions about this guitar or any other guitars that I've reviewed, go ahead and drop a comment down below. I'm happy to chat with all you guys and, you know, be helpful and offer some suggestions and help you along on your guitar journey as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and rock on.